is up, guys? It's your boy Alex, and welcome back to the Brave Lionheart. Welcome back to the Brave Lionheart channel. Sorry about that. Though today it's not really much to be happy about, considering, recently what happened, sadly. Which is why today's video is part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Corner. Now, you all remember when I posted my recent episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Excalibur Knights. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied today. But you all remember when I posted that episode. Sorry, there was phlegm in my throat. When I posted that episode, I mentioned that recently we lost someone very, very dear to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime community and the manga community also. Yes, you all remember I talked about Kazuki Takahashi, who passed away at the age of 60, and his body was found in the ocean, which is still very sad. But yeah, so I did say in that video that I would do another video that was dedicated to him, and it was actually a request by my good friend Mal, while I was also trying to get to his other requests that he asked for. So there is that. But anyway, today's reaction request, we're actually taking a look at a video from a YouTuber that I've watched maybe a little bit of. I would have to recheck the name of it, but I'm just gonna, I'm just probably gonna say the name when I get the video started. But today we're taking a look at his video on the dark origins of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, what this could possibly mean is he's probably going to be talking about the original manga that Kazuki Takahashi worked on. And yeah, the original manga is dark. It is very, very dark. Sorry about that. It was, again, phlegm is popping up my throat. But then again, it also could be talking about the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime that was based on the manga, which everyone knew it as Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. Or something, I guess. But that's really what that's specifically what it's called. Anyway, we're not going to focus on that. Then again, it could be possibly for the video. You know what? We're just going to get this started. Alright, before we get the video started, I looked up the name of the YouTuber from the notification that Mal sent me. The YouTuber name is Jay Witz. And the one time I've actually watched him, it was actually when he talked about another Yu-Gi-Oh! Related thing, which was the Dungeon Dice Monsters board game. More or less not a board game, but the actual game that was created from the episode of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. But anyway, we're not going to focus on that. We're actually going to focus on this video. So, without further ado, let's dive right into the dark origins of Yu-Gi-Oh! And see if we can find out exactly what dark origins they're talking about. My money's on the manga and the original anime that was based on the manga. Anyway, starting the video in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. I'm kind of hoping that's actually what he's going to be talking about. Just the original manga and the anime based on the manga, but,
So it turns out that this guy, and this guy have a lot more in common than you might have known.
I wouldn't say Yugi would have anything in common with Billy or anything.
Lately, I've been obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! It all started when I learned that you could put Legacy of the Duelist on the Switch if you have the Japanese eShop. Months before the game drops here in the US. Instantly, it was like a trip right back into my childhood. I loved the original show, and I played the game competitively during some of the earliest tournament formats. But Legacy of the Duelist let me dig up nearly 15 years of the game's history that I missed out on growing up.
I'm not entirely
sure I was watching old seasons of the show, going through all my old cards to make a cube draft, I'm checking out structure decks, I'm opening reissued packs of...
I think I should need to talk about this for a second. Legacy of the Duelists, and mostly the original version for PS4 and Xbox and Switch, well, the Link Evolution was for a Switch, and basically, but all they really did was, add extra content, especially for the seasons that did not get dubbed for 5Ds and GX. GX, for a reason, Season 4 mostly focused on things like Jaden dueling Satan. Not even joking with you people. There literally was a season about Jaden dueling Satan, and that was the final duel of that season. Well, first final duel. There was the graduation duel he had against Yugi in a vision or dream or whatever. And 5D's focused on a lot of heavier stuff in their final season.
Jinzo, baby! You know how there's a mobile game?
But yeah, that'd be
based
totally
on the
great
Yu-Gi-Oh
for kids
card
to learn
game?
about in,
Well,
like,
it turns
dub
out that there's
form.
a card game based on that mobile game. I was
Also just
digging
gonna
deep into the
scooch back a bit.
Yu-Gi-Oh lore.
Yeah, I
Just like the
forgot that
archaeologists who discovered
Duel Links was
Millennium
turned
items in the
into a
original
card
Yu-Gi-Oh
game also.
story, when you dig deep enough, you can find some pretty crazy stuff. Here was my descent into darkness. Top floor, you got the Four Kids English
he is
anime,
gonna talk
which is
about the
only
anime.
Yu-Gi-Oh story most people that I know have seen.
Or is he going to be talking about
The show is
both?
known for its almost comical levels of censorship, from finger guns to the Shadow
Yeah.
Realm to the removal of any religious symbols
Lot
to the
of
cover-up
Four
of
Kids
anything remotely
whitewashing
sexual.
for
So the
censorship.
English anime is a toned-down version of the Japanese anime. But it
And you
turns
can
out
still
that the
see this
Japanese
stuff in the
anime
sub
is a
version.
toned-down version of the first Japanese anime. This gets a little
Mm-hmm.
confusing, but in 1998, there was a one-season anime by Studio Toei simply titled Yu-Gi-Oh! The Yu-Gi-Oh! Show that we know in America first released in 2000 in Japan by Studio Gallop. In Japan, this second show
Yep.
is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. To distinguish the two in English, a lot of fans commonly nickname this first series as Season 0. The first
There we
production of the
go.
show is famous for its wider focus on games and the much crueler and more punishing version of Dark Yugi.
Yeah,
I could
and
stop
the,
just talk
the
about Season
punishments
0,
that the
but
people
today
he
we're
went
actually
against in
digging
games
one level even deeper.
was pretty much
Because it turns out
really
that even
severe
Season
if you think
0
about it.
is a toned-down version of the original source material. We got the OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga.
Yeah,
Written
'cause
by Kazuki
bullies
Takahashi,
always
and first
carry
published
those
by
around
Weekly
with them.
Shonen Jump in 1996. This is a dark tale of violence, games, and judgment. It's so many steps removed from the neutered show that I grew up with that it feels like a completely different story.
Jeez,
Shockingly,
man.
the Viz Media English localization of the manga is extremely light on censorship this time around. And it's pretty damn good. Okay, some quick manga stuff before we get started. I'm going to be using the Japanese names for these characters since that's what they use
Yeah,
in the English
'cause
manga.
that's originally the
Also,
names
version
that
of
they
the story
had in
that
the
I read
manga.
was the Viz Media
And in the
3-in-1
later issues of
volume
the manga
packs that you
also.
can see here. If you're interested
Yeah.
in buying this
I
manga
said- I meant
and
to say
want to help
also.
support the
I don't know
show,
why I said
I'm going to leave
also.
an Amazon referral link in the description below. The images from the manga that I'll be using today are from the more recent Japanese Bunko digitally colorized manga. These look
Wow.
extremely good, and I hope
That's
that
some
someday we'll
really
see an
impressive
English release in
artwork
the
for
future.
revisions of the manga.
The phrase
That is
Yu-Gi-Oh!
awesome.
In Japanese literally translates to King of Games, and that's exactly what our hero becomes. The manga follows the real-life theme of some of
So
the
literally
earliest
the
games known
series
to mankind
is
being
actually
discovered
called
in
King
Egypt.
of Games.
When Yugi solves the ancient Egyptian Millennium Puzzle, he inherits the soul of an ancient guardian who passes judgment on the evil. The first 7 volumes of the manga are what most would consider classic Yu-Gi-Oh! These all follow
Yeah.
a similar chapter-by-chapter formula. Yugi and his
That
friends
also was
find
the thing
interest
that,
in
like, the
gamer
original
activity,
Yu-Gi-Oh! manga
someone
focused
evil
on.
exploits or cheats
More
in
or
that
less
activity,
just
and then Dark
games.
Yugi appears to challenge the perpetrator to a shadow game of his own design. When the evildoer is defeated, they're given a cruel punishment that fits their crimes. One of the most interesting parts of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga is that it has a massive variety of gaming inspirations to make
Oh
up its
yeah,
scenarios.
from chapter 2
There
of
are
the
chapters
manga.
or arcs dedicated to Dungeons and Dragons, arcade games, yo-yos, Tamagotchi card games, and of course, even a Gashapon chess game, complete with polls
Yep.
that vary in rarity from 1 to 5 stars.
That introduced Mokuba also. And it's also a fun fact. I think I sat on the pause button for a second. There was an arc in the original manga that was probably the best moment in the arc, which was also the most deadly also. It was the Death Tea arc, where it also introduced Mokuba and Kaiba. But the games in that one were kind of messed up if you think about it. It's just... Yeah, there was a lot of messed up games. There was like a real laser tag game where the person would get shot with real lasers and they would die. Oh boy.
Heroes.
He's the king of games, not the king of cards. Also, fun fact, the original
Sorry, I was
title
trying
for
to
this
get my
card
dog's
game in the
attention.
manga, before it was changed to Duel Monsters, was Wizards and Magic. It's literally a
Yeah,
Magic
and the
the
rules of the
Gathering
card
parody.
game were a
big thing
little
that makes
bit
this
more hard to
Yu-Gi-Oh! So
understand
dark
than the
compared to
actual
the
rules in
Yu-Gi-Oh!
the
that I
anime.
know is the punishment. The only Dark Yugi punishments that I remember growing up were the occasional mind crush. But this Yugi has an entire arsenal of ways to humiliate
Oh
and beat
yeah,
down evil
Illusion
people
of
that cross him.
Mosaic.
Our first
Oh
victim tries to
gosh.
extort Yugi for cash.
forgot about
and
that
so
one.
Dark Yugi throws him into illusion that drives him insane, making him think that he's rolling around in piles of money. He's found the next morning rolling in leaves and garbage.
Huh. Yeah, the first bully that messed with Yugi and his demonic, like, Egyptian magic powers got off easy, surprisingly. But the later on stuff that happens, yeah, it gets much worse for the people that Yugi faces. Like, there's one I remember, and I think this was only in the anime, where he faced a guy that stole watches, and they played a game with, like, a pendulum and, like, a clockwork, like, inside of a clock or something, and the pendulum just, like, hit the back of his hand, and it revealed he had, like, gears in the side of the back of his hand. Yeah, that was, like, really messed up. Also, this artwork kind of reminds me of the Archie comics for some odd reason.
And compared
I'm guessing
to the rest
Kazuki
of them,
Takahashi
he
was
got
like a
off
big fan of Archie
easy.
and-
For example, during
or
the duel
something,
with
I'm not
Kaiba,
sure.
Yugi turns him into a trading card and forces
That's
him
actually
to
something
feel
that
the
happens to
sensation
Kaiba
of death at the hands
from
of the game's
Pegasus.
monsters
I didn't
in
know
their
Yugi did
world.
that to him.
And while humiliation
Oh,
through
jeez.
illusion is a tool that Dark Yugi uses, he usually prefers extreme violence. There's poison stings, electrocutions, explosions, lighting people on fire,
Yeah.
lighting people on fire, lighting people on he just really wants to watch the world burn, okay? These are all
Atem
bad
is a
people who deserve the
pyromaniac.
punishment, but
That's-
seeing
that's
Yugi
really
act
all we
as
can
an
say about that.
executioner so frequently throughout
There was
the
like a
manga
little
is
rhyme
just
that I did there,
wild
so
compared to what I
apologies
used
for
to
that.
know. Another thing that
Oh,
isn't
well, this
quite
popped
the
up. Hold
Yu-Gi-Oh
on.
that I know is the
There we go.
perv factor. It only takes like 5 pages into the first chapter to find Yugi imagining Anzu's panties if she played basketball while wearing a skirt. This is a very different Yugi.
yeah.
Later we see Grandpa commenting on how she's grown up and comments on her bust size.
Yep.
The next chapter
The
we see
manga
Junichi
and the
complaining about
anime, the
censorship
current one,
mosaics in
have
his
one thing
porn.
in common.
There's this thing in the background. the
Grandpa is obsessed with
anti-tank.
sex.
Someone tries to use chloroform on Anzu. Yugi ogles Anzu's quote-unquote dynamite body. There's a weird groping machine? What the? Man, it has gotta suck to be the one girl in a shonen manga. These moments aren't super common.
Well, to be
and they
fair,
definitely
there
do
was
die
another
down as
girl
the story
character that was
continues,
introduced
but they
in
threw me
season
off.
0 when the manga
English
was
anime and
finished,
cards are so prude, they
but
wanna pretend that
she never
cleavage
really
doesn't
did
even
anything
exist.
in the
So even
anime.
that
She just
small jump from
was another
Babyland
female
to
character to
Teeth
add to the
and
roster of
Teenland can
characters
feel
for the
like a giant
manga.
leap.
Well,
But
no,
I
for
think
the
by far
anime,
the
not for the
biggest
manga.
thing that
but, you know.
shocks me when reading this is the violence. Like, yeah, Yugi kills people, but they usually die
Yeah.
off screen or in one shot. But
And,
there's a
like,
significant
Jinochi just
amount of
lightly
bloody and
tapped the
brutal
guy with his
fist-fighting throughout
fist.
the whole story.
And
Broken
really, he really
jaws,
shouldn't be
teeth
bleeding
getting
that
knocked
much.
Out, hands getting impaled. This is intense. But
I
nobody gets a
forgot
beat down
about
like
that in the
Yugi.
manga.
Lil Yugi is constantly getting his ass whooped. I started counting, and over
Yeah,
half of the
Little
first
Yugi
couple
takes a
volumes feature
beating in this
stories
manga
where this
series.
kid gets punched in
And
the
in the
face.
anime, too.
It's just nonstop. And boy, have we moved up from the finger guns. There are weapons everywhere. Tons of guns, multiple serial
Yeah.
killers, tasers. Everyone has a knife. He's got a knife. He's got a knife.
There's just
Yugi's
some
got a
crazy
knife.
psychopaths
Freaking
in the
Mokuba?
world of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga.
No!
Like I mentioned, the first 7 volumes of
Annoyed!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Play out in this dark but passionate love letter to all things gaming. The original English printing of these volumes was simply titled Yu-Gi-Oh! But starting with volume 8, things start to change. The manga
Yeah,
starts
this
to
was
line
the
up with
manga series
storylines
that I
we know from
actually
the
had
anime,
also.
and card games completely take over. Between Duelist Kingdom and Battle City, more than 20 of the next consecutive volumes are in
I also think there was a thing they changed in the manga. Well, considering the manga came out first and then the anime was made by Studio Gallop, which we all miss them, honestly. I'm liking the new studio, But yeah, they changed one thing in a story where Yugi fought the darker half of Kaiba. That one, it was a puppeteer that used a puppet of Kaiba to duel.
Entirely about the Duel Monsters
Yeah,
card game.
and the puppet was
Okay.
very, very
Almost
terrifying and
entirely.
creepy.
In English,
Like,
this huge
most
block is called
puppets
Yu-Gi-Oh!
are.
Duelist. Now, they might be card game arcs, but they do still have that classic manga edge to them. Tons of characters actually die during Duelist Kingdom, including Bandit Keith being forced to shoot himself in the head after being caught cheating, or
Ooh,
Pegasus having
yeah.
the Millennium Eye grabbed
Yeah,
removed
Pegasus
from his
dies
face.
in this.
Oh,
So I don't-
God, ew.
Oh, I
Licking
forgot
the
he did that in the
blood off
anime
of it.
too.
That boy
You can only
ain't
see
right.
it in the sub
But
version
regardless,
though.
It's definitely jarring to go to only card games after reading those first couple volumes. Almost all of the rest of Yu-Gi-Oh! And its expanded universe is
Yeah,
trading
most of the
cards.
later animes
Cards
and
have become
mangas
the
focused on
brand's
the card
identity.
game.
I started searching for an answer, trying to find out why this series went from all games to just one game in such a sudden way. The author constantly talks between the chapters about the different games he loves, citing his absolute favorite.
That
as
honestly was an
tabletop
interesting
role-playing
thing to
games.
read about in the manga
Every single
later
chapter
on.
of the manga even comes with a little do-it-yourself board game that you can play, full of different rules and genres. So with all this variety, why only cards? Kazuki Takahashi doesn't speak to the press that much, but I finally got my answer in the Time magazine interview dating all the way back to 2001. Originally, I'd planned to phase out the card game in 2 episodes, but the reader response we got was enormous. Shonen Jump started getting calls from all these kids who wanted to know more about the game, how to play it, where they could get it. At the time, kids didn't really play card games. They were way into video games. But it's much more thrilling to battle against a human
Yeah.
being while looking them in the eye than
Rest
playing
in
with
peace,
a
though,
machine.
Takahashi.
I
Rest
realized
in
I'd hit on
peace.
something, so I began to concentrate on the card game.
Ah.
Another important part to this story
I
is
hate when that
Takahashi's
happens. My
career.
nose burned.
He wanted to write manga professionally, but he wasn't able to break into the business for over a decade.
Ugh.
After all those years of waiting, those 2
That's
card
probably the
game
worst
chapters
feeling to
finally
ever
helped him
have.
find an angle
When
to
you like have the
success
feeling
for
to
the first
sneeze
time.
and then it goes
I
away and
definitely
it
can't
burns
blame
your
him
nose.
for running with it.
I
Card
hate
games
that.
or no card games, I still really love Yu-Gi-Oh! After all these years. Sure, this version is lewd, it's crude, and it's got one mean dude, but the old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga is full of more stories with the same great characters I grew up with on the TV. As someone who has also walked a life full of different types of games, from the tables to the screens, it's been a blast going through this little chapter before Yu-Gi-Oh! Became all about the heart of the cards. And that isn't where the story ends. Takahashi
Oh,
might have
yeah.
gotten swept up in card
The
game
final
mania
arc
in
of the
middle,
anime.
but he got to end Yu-Gi-Oh! On his own
But it
terms.
also was the final arc
The final
of the
7
manga
volumes
too.
close out Yugi's original story. In English, they were titled Yu-Gi-Oh! The Millennium World.
Yep.
If you've seen the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime,
Well, that's
you might have
nice that
noticed
it's
a lot
like
less card
the
games in the
first
show's
volume
final
of
arcs.
the
But one
Millennial
thing the anime doesn't
World
really
arc actually
capture
is
well
referencing
is
the
the
first
final shadow
volume
game
of the
story.
first series that
Here in the manga,
Takahashi
it's
worked
a
on.
massive tabletop
I can't talk
Dungeons
today.
and Dragons style campaign between Yugi and Bakura. Despite creating a story that kickstarted one of the world's most popular games, I find it fitting that Takahashi got to give us another look at his personal favorite game before the end.
Alright, there you have it, guys. That was my reaction to the Dark Origins of Yu-Gi-Oh! By Jaywitz. And again, since this is one that I'm reacting to for the first time, if you guys want me to react to more of his videos, let me know in the comment section down below and I will try to get to those videos as best as I can. But again, this is a special video that's going out to Kazuki Takahashi, who honestly brought us like so much joy with the mangas that he created and all the Yu-Gi-Oh! Ones that he created as well. And it breaks my heart to know that we lost another great person. Just, these past few years have been getting like so bad now. I really wish, I hope that at some point at the end of the new year, at the end of this year, some good does come out of this year and like some good stuff does happen. I just hope. I just really hope. But anyway, with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell to never miss a video. And with that, I will see all you awesome guys and gals later. Bye-bye!